watching Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and we are joined by our new friend. Her name is Kandee Lewis, and she is the executive director of the Positive Results Corporation. I am so glad you're here because I have two daughters. Ivy is 14 in 8th grade. Paige is 12 in 6th grade, and Ivy is talking about dating. And no one's going to date my daughters, but someone will.
Someone will.
And so your focus is on teen dating violence prevention.
Right.
Talk to me about how I can talk to my daughters. I need help.
I'm so glad you asked that question. Most parents are really concerned about having the conversation. Anything about sex or drugs, it just freaks them out. You just want to have a regular conversation, just like you and I are, and be very specific. Ask them questions, let them ask you questions, and just answer the question.
But when I think about dating, I mean, look, in the final analysis, I can't be there.
Right.
We can joke that I'm going to chaperone my daughters on dates. That's not going to happen.
Right.
We need our girls, and boys for that matter, to fly and fly away.
Right.
And so, look, I'm a guy. My wife's amazing. She's a great mother. But I really do feel behind the 8 ball when it relates to how I talk to my daughter about dating. Not so much sex, not so much drugs, but dating.
It's all about healthy relationships. See, your daughter is already watching you and your wife. She's watching her friends,
Right.
She's watching her big sister, and she's watching the neighbors. And so the example has already been set. You want to make sure that you're having healthy relationships, dealing with healthy boundaries, and being very specific in your conversation.
But what about the allure, for some girls, not all, I'm not going to make that generalization, of the bad boy?
Oh, everybody likes a little
Okay.
bad boy or bad girl.
But talk me through that, because I don't know what to say.
So first off, when your daughter comes to you and says, Dad, I want to date, you have the conversation with, first off, why do you want to date? What is the importance of dating, and who is it that you want to date? And then invite that person over.
The boy.
But invite the boy over. And then ask her before he even gets there, what does she know about him? What does she know about his family? And then you go and meet that boy's family. Feel free to do that.
Well,
that's important.
Look, to your mind, is it appropriate for a 14-year-old to go on a date? I'm not even sure what a date means.
Right.
But if my daughter came to me this year, next year, and said, I want to go to the movies with John,
Right.
is that appropriate?
Well, it all depends on that particular family. My mother and father never let me have a boyfriend, and I could date in a group. So
see.
I like dating in groups because
I don't disagree.
there's that safety net.
Even if it paired up, but
Exactly.
if there's 4 couples, even if they're
Right.
14 or 15,
Right.
there is that safety.
So we can think that our children are very advanced and mature, but who is it that they're dealing with? So that's why I like to deal with groups. 14 is a little young, but
so.
there's a lot of kids
Right.
that are dating. There are a lot of kids that are 14 that have children.
Yeah, well, that's
So, you just have to deal with it individually.
Talk to me about both emotional violence and physical violence, because they're different, but they're equally as damaging. And creating a daughter, and again, I shouldn't just focus on girls, but let's do that for these purposes.
Okay.
That knows how to set boundaries both in terms of emotional violence and physical violence.
Well, first off, when you talk about physical violence, that's anyone putting their hands on you
Well, there's
in
no
any
boundary
kind
there.
of way.
Yeah, there's no boundary there.
Right, but sometimes people get it mistaken because physical violence could also be with them grabbing your arm and trying to control you that way. We were talking today to a group of youth, and one young lady's boyfriend grabbed her head and pushed it down on the ground and told her to lay down and pretend like she was a dog. And that's a different kind. But emotional violence can be anything from them demeaning you and making you feel really bad to telling you things like, I'm going to kill myself and it's all your fault.
We've heard that. I mean,
That happens
yeah.
a lot because people don't want to take responsibility for their actions. They want you to feel like this is your fault. You've done this. And I have to say this, there is no reason for violence, and no matter what anyone does, it is never their fault.
Could you talk me through that? I'm going to kill myself and it's your fault. I've
Right.
heard that.
Right.
What is the appropriate response of the child, and then what happens when the child comes to the parent?
Well, first off, if someone tells you that they're going to kill themselves and it's your fault, then you have to judge the situation. Every situation is different because it could be that you're in immediate danger, imminent danger right then.
Murder, suicide.
Right, it could be. It could be that that person, because you said, please get out of here with that mess, might decide, oh, you don't think I'm serious, and might try and hurt you. Or maybe they don't do anything. So you try and diffuse the situation and let them know, listen, you are important, you are special to me, and I don't want anything to happen.
And even if we're breaking up,
Right.
that doesn't mean.
Right. But then you want to go and tell your parent or tell an adult that you feel comfortable and safe with, and that's key.
What happens when the child comes to the parent? I mean, I'll be honest, this happened to me. Now, it wasn't, I'm going to kill myself because of you,
Right.
but my daughter came to me and said she had a friend who expressed suicidal thoughts, and I was stumped.
Right.
I didn't know if I should call the parent, if I should call the school. I was really perplexed.
You have to listen. First off, it's important. Listen to our children. Listen to your daughter, and then ask her, what do you think? What do you think we should do? You think this person is trying to get attention or what? But never let something like that just pass you by. Definitely call either their parent or call the school. It's important that if someone says they're going to kill themselves, take them for their word, because if they don't kill themselves today, maybe it will be tomorrow.
Let's talk about sex, because, you know, sex can be a beautiful thing.
Yes.
In an appropriate place, in an appropriate time, but sex can be dangerous.
Yes.
The era of the mass hysteria over HIV is behind us, but HIV is a risk, chlamydia is a risk, gonorrhea, syphilis, pregnancy. Help me.
Well, mass hysteria has gone, but that does not mean that there is not a high incidence of AIDS, all types of diseases. As a matter of fact, youth between the age of 13 to about 24 have the highest rates of sexually transmitted diseases today. And so we have to talk to our children about abstinence and protection. Don't just say, oh, you know what, my kid's not going to have sex. You don't know what your child is going to do. So talk to them about safety and protection. That's important.
What about our sons? And
Definitely.
treating them, not so much about sex, but having healthy relationships with girls. I've been focused on on daughters. What about our sons?
I'm glad you said that. We just had a conference called Engaging Men and Boys to Prevent Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault while promoting healthy manhood. We have to teach our boys and men that it's important to treat women with respect, even if they don't like them. So don't call a girl ugly or stupid.
Or
Look
worse.
at her, or even worse, the B words and everything
the S
else.
word,
Right.
yeah.
Just say, hey, how are you doing? And if you don't like them, go ahead and move on. But talk to them about the way they talk to women, the way they engage with women, because those same women that they're talking bad to can be their mothers or their sisters. One day they'll be their wife or their daughter.
And look, I've learned, and you said it, parents need to model positive behavior.
Yes.
Even when there are disagreements.
Absolutely. We're going to always disagree.
And I think at some level I've learned it's okay to fight in front of your kids within boundaries, and they see that it's a disagreement, you make up, and that's what life is.
Right. It's when you start cussing people out or even minimizing who they are as a person, that's when it becomes very dangerous. So when you are arguing, it's okay to disagree. It's okay to disagree, but it's never okay to intentionally, that's the word, hurt.
Her name is Kandee Lewis. She is the Executive Director of the Positive Results Corporation. I'm Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.